So today it was great to actually attend a Zoom meeting with UK-EU Commission talking about formulating policy for the new incoming government, which looks highly likely to be Labour, and hope that we've got some ability to influence the new government on food and farming policy, which actually looks like a niche issue, but it in fact impacts us all. And after that, got down to trying to sort out an animal whose horn has got a bit long and was growing into the side of her head when we hit the side of a stone and had a puncture. And everything took a lot longer than it should have done, so very frustrating. But eventually we gave her the treatment that she needed, and now she's much happier. Looks like Rishi Sunak might actually lose the election and lose his seat, the first time ever for a sitting Prime Minister.
Rishi Sunak spent much of his time in his constituency up in North Yorkshire, in Richmond and North Allerton. Is he, do you think, genuinely worried that he could lose that seat?
I think he is. I don't think he would have made 5 or so visits to that seat during the campaign if he wasn't. Quite often, Prime Minister will not spend much time in their seat. Normally, it's a very safe seat. A visit from the Prime Minister is one of the things that candidates in marginal seats want the most. And so that's normally where they focus their efforts. So that is striking. And there has been a constituency poll done, which actually gives him quite a decent lead. I think it was around 8 or 9 points. But that's still tighter than you'd want. And given the scale of the swing that we're seeing away from the Conservatives, it's definitely in play.
If he lost his seat, would that be the first time a sitting Prime Minister had done so?
I think it would be.
What became apparent in today's round table is that broadly we all agree on the fact that there are many issues for agriculture. Some predate Brexit, but Brexit is the real burden on all our backs. It's causing disparity in the United Kingdom. For Northern Ireland in particular, the Windsor framework is maxed out. And the only real silver bullet is joining the Single Market and Customs Union. And we can all agree that that would alleviate the labour problems, and it would alleviate the trade problems. But then you come to a point where you realise that you're a rule taker and you want to be part of the rule-making process, which means we really do need to rejoin. However, that isn't within our gift, but we can ask for the Single Market and Customs Union. And that is the most sensible thing that we could do, and also abandon any thought that we might benefit from CPTPP or that there is an American trade deal somewhere over the horizon. Ultimately, gravity matters. We are part of Europe, and we cannot pick up these islands and move them over to Asia, even if we wanted to. And we need to come back and understand why food is so important to us all. Food security is national security. The reason, of course, that we have this lunacy of the Brexit elephant in the room not being mentioned is because of the right-wing media and the fact that some people, having gone with Brexit and believed in it, don't want to admit that their dream was not real. And that means that the Labour Party in particular are having to appease the political reality of Brexit. And everybody wants growth from being in Brexit Britain, but it's impossible. We can only get growth from actually pulling the plug on Brexit. And at some stage that has to be faced. But I understand why Keir Starmer has decided to go along with making Brexit work, even though we know it can't work. And when you listen to the interview with The Sun from a few months ago, it's obvious why.
This came up time and time again from our readers. You ultimately tried to put it to another vote, having said you'd respect the result. Can you understand how that looks to our readers and why they don't trust you on Brexit?
Well, look, on Brexit, I think we have to cast our minds back. The country was completely divided. We had, 3 years of arguments, of different positions. The Tory party was divided, my party was divided, the country was divided, and we were all trying to find a way forward. What I did do was we voted through the Brexit deal after the last general election. Now, I did that because I thought it was the only way for the country to move forward. I still think we could get a better deal. I think we should be able to trade more freely with Europe. I think that we should have a closer defence and security set of arrangements with Europe. But I've completely accepted the result. I've voted for the Brexit deal, and we need to look forward and certainly not look back. I don't think anybody wants to go back to that period of division.
But so on the key fundamentals, free movement, yes or no?
No.
Customs union?
No.
Some of your front benchers are a bit wobbly on that when you ask them privately. They think that there's a
They're not when I ask them.
single market.
No.
So
you can't
it's all
go
kaput.
back into those institutions.
Does that hurt you, though? Because you love the EU.
Well, look, I worked with the EU. When I was chief prosecutor for 5 years, running all the prosecutions in England and Wales, I worked with my counterparts across Europe because we had to deal with terrorist gangs that were working in Europe. We had to deal with people that were smuggling guns and drugs across Europe. And so I felt that that was a very important thing that we should have. And I still want us to be able to work in that way.
But look, still wish we were in the EU.
Look, we've left.
There's no you wish we were still in
We've
the
left. There's no. I mean, I'm not going to go back and reopen those divides. I voted.
Sounds like a yes.
No. I voted for Remain. I wanted us to remain. The country voted out, and that's why after the last election in 2019, I voted for a Brexit deal, and we are now out. We're not going back in, but I think that we all have to recognise that the economy is not in a good place. Our public service is not in a good place, and my job, if I'm privileged enough to win the election, will be, as it were, to pick the country up, fix the immediate problems and take our country forward so we can genuinely say after 5 or 10 years, this country is now better than it was in 2024 when we were elected into office, if we are elected into office.
On the issue of Brexit, obviously that came up. The second one that came up a lot.
Hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and comment below. Let me know what you think.